So we got some confirmation and more information about this Flower of the Maze tournament. The very specifics of it. And it's very interesting. It seems that there's a disagreement going on, which I was right about. There's a disagreement going on with the other former Shaman Kings, mainly the one who created their world of today, the capitalist world, YVS. And apparently, when you have a disagreement among the former Shaman Kings of how the world works, you have a little game you play, a little tournament, a war, you would call it. Whatever you see it, the gods see it as a game, and we see it as us fighting for our lives. But this game does not come without compensation, of course. You get your wish granted. You will seek something that you've always wanted to have in your life, having it. So it's not just one person like it was in the Shaman tournament. This time it's multiple people who are representing their god in a way. So we only know of two Shaman Kings so far. We know the previous one, and we also know of Lord Howe as well. So Lord Howe wants to keep the world the way it is because he is seeing what Yo and his friends can do to change the world and make it a better place. Howe himself wanted to make a world of the strong where shamans exist. Anyways, he had the Magneto dream, but to the extreme. He didn't just want to have mutants, shamans. He wanted to have the strongest shamans living in the world. Because he believed the strongest shamans were more ideological and weren't able to condone the violence. But after watching and listening to the previous shaman tournament, that is incorrect. Even the strongest shamans with their different ideologies and religions were still at each other's throats, killing each other, proving Lord Howe himself didn't really care about ruling over the world, or like he just really wanted to destroy it. So there goes that plan in a way. So the other gods see Lord Howe as someone who's incapable of really being Shaman King because he hasn't done anything. That's why they're unimpressed with him, especially the one that was before him, YVS, the pyramid-looking one. And they wanted to take the power back, at least have a bigger shift on it. Like, let's keep the world the way it is. Things aren't so bad compared to the other times, and he is right. The other times, man, the time of the Dark Ages, the times of the noblemen, the Stone Ages, all those times were just god awful when you think about it. Back then, women had no rights. They were being as sacrifices. If you were having fortunate way of life and you weren't rich, people thought you were some sort of demon or sorcerer, so they'll try to kill you. And if there was a plague happening, it was very religious like, so they would punish themselves or others just to believe that that will stop the plague. A lot of ignorance happened, but then medicine, technology, and science came into parties. And that's when the world starts healing, as you can see, the world of money. And yes, there's always going to be some people who are going to be suffering from any ideological world. Not everyone's going to be happy in it, but this is the world where less people suffer compared to what was back then. I'm getting way too deep into it, but it really is interesting though. You wonder what the previous gods were like, and under the previous gods, they had their rule. Their rule was the way the world was supposed to be, the way they wanted the world to be, anyways. So makes you wonder what was their way of thinking of how they wanted the world to be. Maybe one came out of the age of the Dark Ages and hated how things were. Everything's in fear and cold, and people were dying. So he went into a way where they didn't come out fire. One didn't like all the sacrifices, so they brought it to a new age, and each age brought on into a new ideology. So it makes sense to see the latest one, and they don't want to do anything. They're just sitting there watching how Lord Yo and them just trying to solve problems that they're not really doing very well of doing, in a way. So I think they would have been happy if Howe made a decision of what he wanted to do, and based that decision on his ideology, but Howe didn't have one. So because of that, they're probably unhappy with him. So thus forth, the Flower of the Maze is starting, and each one will have a team to represent them. And it seems like this is Hana's team, and Alumi is the general manager. So the team consists of these people. One dude reminds me of Haruko, the ice dude from the previous one, who ended up being like one of the strongest fighters on Yo's team. And at the end, because he was always hiding his potential despite being the goofball of the team. There's him. And then you have, Yohane, another bloodline from the Asakura family. And now we apparently have a new person, a person who is the son of Ren Tao, and the lady who was the leader of the X-Laws, Jane, Can you believe that? Jane, of all people, yes. Ren Tao and Lady Jane got together. No one saw that coming because you never saw them interact. Usually when people come together in these kind of stories, you at least see them interact or have some sort of chemistry within the story. It's just a little bit. This one was zilch, zero. But instead, you see a pass of it instead, and some other spin-offs are showing how they met. They pretty much met each other in college, and they start to get along and stuff, and then they fell in love. And she becomes a housewife. She don't want to involve herself with anything, and he just continue on his business, trying to make the world a better place because he's super rich. He's a nobleman in a way. So they must have gave birth to this kid, and they're sitting in his way. And he has two powerful spirits. He has Bison and the God of Judgment on his side, man. Two powerful spirits. He's probably rocking in with the power, man. How can this dude be stopped? But then again, ironically enough, despite Ren wanting to be Yo's rival, Ren was actually the weakest on the team of the five warriors. Believe it or not. The strongest warriors was Choco Love. Yeah, they made the black guy the strongest one on the team. Then there's Haru Honoko, the ice dude, which I was talking about. Then it was Lyserg. Yo, that's right. Yo was the main character, and he was even the strongest on the team. Then you have Ren. Ren was the weakest on the team. What the F? But again, they were rivals, I guess, fighting for 4th and 5th place. Anyways, and I guess you can count Ryu at the end because, Ryu wasn't part of the five warriors. He was still on the team. So there's that. So anyways, this is very interesting. The pieces are truly moving now. We have a better understanding. Why is it called the Flower Maze? Where the symbol of it represents rising corn. I'm guessing, yes, corn of all things. So they themselves don't understand the meaning behind the word flower of the maze. But where it is happening, and they gotta do something about it. But the last member is on his way, but he doesn't seem like he can really get along with people very well. Well, let's see what happens in the next episode. But yeah, man, that's interesting. I like to see how this shaman fight happens. What other people had children and where they're off joining other teams or doing other things. What happened to the other five warriors? Now I think about it. Where Yo is probably just wandering the world. But what about the others? What are they up to? That's what I like to know. But probably won't get much focus on them for right now. But anyway, that's all I got for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, and of course, hit that bell icon. This is the background on anime. Signing out.